Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
and I am Tom.
We are Team Binge. We are here to talk about Pluribus, Season 1, Episode 3. This one was called Grenade. Tom, this was a solid 43-minute episode. I don't mean to be down on shows, but 43 is a really good run length for a TV show. I know
Yeah, I concur.
23 minutes is what we grew up on, minus commercials, but 43 for a solid, kind of HBO prestige. I know this is Apple. Really, really tickles me.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's good. It's not too long. I feel like we watched Frankenstein recently on Netflix, which was like 8.5 hours long. Way too long of a movie.
Yeah,
Good movie.
yeah.
Way too long.
You just
Stuff
go
needs
to
to be
9.
shorter.
If you're going to be at 8.5, just go to 9. That's what I say to Del Toro or whatever his name is, Guillermo.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive into this one, Tom. This was so strong first 2 episodes. I felt this one we treaded a little bit, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. This felt like we were stuck in an ice castle for 2,167 days, which is actually the time period before. So you had asked, hey, do you think we're going to get flashbacks? We got a flashback in this one. And I think that time, like, that the timestamp that they've given us through these first 3 episodes really allows for this to happen. So I think we're going to do quite a bit of time jumping in the show.
Yeah, and I like the concept of it. We're like, we had to do a little bit of math here. Like, how much is 2,000 days, which is roughly 6 years here. So this is 6 years ago when kind of Carol and Helen were kind of vacationing and kind of, I mean, we don't know when their relationship started, but being able to kind of show them, I guess, at the beginning of Carol's book career was super cool and interesting, and I'm glad we're getting it.
So you got the sense that this was a first book? I got the sense that this was like, I don't know, because she's worried about how it's going to do. This didn't feel like a first book for me. This felt like a second in the series or third in the series. But I guess the 6 years wouldn't make sense because was the book in the beginning book 4? Oh no!
Let's figure this out. Let's go back to the tape. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it really is relevant. It was just like the idea of Carol being very fixated on her book and where it is in this bestseller and where it kind of launched at, as opposed to now where she's been doing books long enough, I guess, over these past 6 years, where she kind of feels it's all like drivel.
Yeah, well, so I felt like the way that Helen explains it to her, like, hey, I already checked in on it, like, it's on the... Like, if this was a first book and you hit the bestseller list, like, they would be jumping for joy and, like, you'd want to share this. This felt like Helen was almost... I'm sorry, this felt like Carol was almost guarding against how a next book was going to do. They felt like a little bit like an old hat at this, and or maybe Carol is just, maybe this was just supposed to show that Carol is always sad. Like, if her first book hits top 20, she still is in like sad sack Perry mode,
Well, it's like we talked about the tagline for the show of her being like the most miserable person in the world, and like I didn't get that sense in the first episode that we had before the world kind of got flipped upside down. But certainly in this flashback, it is making her feel like a very like melancholy person that is struggling to find the joy in life, because this is clearly a beautiful situation, probably a nightmare for some people.
Strong disagree, Tom.
But how do you stare at the northern lights out of like a hotel room like this and like just stare off in the distance? Like, she seemed like she wasn't in the moment like Helen was, and it was tough to see because she like really wasn't there.
To describe the person I watched this show with me, this person was like, oh, you're definitely Carol. They told me I was Carol, which is brutal for someone that I'm married to say. But no, so I want to point out a couple of things. They're in this ice hotel. There's nothing worse than being cold and like forcibly making yourself cold. Like, the bed's made of ice. This seemed all like a terrible idea, so I'm with Carol on that.
Yes, my wife's nightmare as well. She is not a cool person. This is why we live in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, this is the worst for her.
So the other beast is looking at the lights, like Carol's reaction to that. My spouse was like, yeah, you'd just be like, oh, you could see this on Google if you Googled it. And I was like, not wrong. Like, she mentions how much money they spent, or like that they seem to have spent a lot of money on this. I completely agree with Carol. And this literally worked its way in real life because where we live, you could see like the northern lights via your phone at night recently for like 2 nights only. My spouse went out the first night, took a picture, showed it to me. I was like, cool, I don't have to go outside now. I got a call from a family member that was like, hey, they're telling me you can see. Have you gone outside to look at them? And I was like, I'll just have my spouse send you the photo because I'm not going out there.
Incredible. I mean, there's a difference, though, from seeing it randomly in Arizona with your, like, through your camera phone. That is different than I feel like being in the tip top of Norway here and actually seeing it where it's proactively changing colors. Like,
sure,
this is like a bucket list item I feel like I want to do at some point.
All right,
not this hotel, but seeing the Northern Lights closer to the pole.
For those of you that are listening, send Tom a gif of the Northern Lights at teambingepodcast@gmail.com and let him know that you're helping him out with his bucket list because you can see it on the internet, Tom. So during this whole hotel stay, I want to note a couple of things. One, there's a mention that they froze Carol's eggs for like future pregnancy. And it was kind of an off-the-cuff like mention from Helen, but I think it's worth noting. I'm assuming it will come in. It's the Chekhov smoking eggs, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Helen definitely says the phrase, "You love feeling bad," which is Carol to a T, and I was like, Helen sees me as well, which I thought was...
It's like the anti Ted Lasso. We started this podcast doing Ted Lasso because you wanted to be more optimistic and you wanted to increase your Lasso levels. But now we're watching this show. Are you dropping down to Carol?
Oh, always. I don't think I ever. I tried to elevate, Tom. I never did. I'm just, the world's broken me. This is where I'm at right now. So I thought that was interesting. And then the third thing I'll mention, and it took me a little while to catch this, and I don't know that it's important at all, but like, Helen is like, hey, you should try this brandy. Like, there's brandy here. It's delicious. Try it. Brandy being alcohol. Through the rest of the show, we see Carol has a distinct, might I say, Julian-level love for alcohol. But in this moment, she won't, like, she just kind of ignores Helen. And it's almost like maybe an alcoholic tendency develops later, I guess, down the road. So I thought it was interesting just because there are, like, is a pointed conversation of like, hey, you should just have some brandy and relax. And Carol does not partake from what I noticed.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Helen is a terrible influence on Carol.
No, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at maybe something down the road, like continued to eat at Carol that led to her drinking. Like we see modern day Carol, which... Now,
what ate at you to get down to drinking that you do?
I think it happened after.
How much time do we have?
I think it happened after I got married and had kids. I think that's what happened, if I'm being honest. Oh, maybe some trips overseas. I don't know. Any of it. Just lump it all together. All right, let's move on to... we then jump... Tom, do you have... I guess the big question, Tom, that we're all wondering is, would you stay in the ice hotel?
No. I feel like I've seen this on like National Geographic and I'm like, oh, this is a cool idea. And people spend a lot of time prepping this thing that only lasts for like a couple months or something. But yeah, I tend to agree with my wife. This is my worst nightmare. I don't mind the cold as much as she does, but sleeping on an ice bed, no thank you.
Yeah. I wonder if the ice hotel industry is really worried about global warming. I'm assuming that that ice hotel is going to shrink quite a bit over time,
Well, I mean, with the flat Earth, you got to be more worried about it sliding off.
That's fair. That's a good point. And then falling into space? Wait, there is no space. Now I'm confused what I believe. Let's jump to... Okay, so 3 days after the event, the collective, we have... Carol back in the airplane, and they don't really spell this out, but this is because the last episode ended with her like waving down Air Force One, so we yada-yada'd her getting I'm committed to getting this name right, Zozia back with her, right?
I think it's Zozia.
No, Tom, I'm not doing that. It's gonna be Zozia, and you're gonna like it. Like, that's the best I can do for you, sir.
You can just call her by her lady, but yeah, Zozia.
Okay. But this is like, we yada-yada'd that, and she got her back from Kumba, correct?
Yes. And I do like that the pilots are like legitimate pilots this time around, where she is like even comments like, it's weirder that you actually got real pilots that have all these
Right.
hours in the air.
Right. They're like, we have a combined 56,000 hours of flying time. And they keep answering, like she asks Zojia a question and then the pilots answer over the intercom. I thought that was a great bit.
I love that too. That was great.
Yeah. And this leads to her, she's like, hey, I talked to all the English speakers. What's going on with the non-English speakers? And Zojia like goes through all of them. And I guess she's looking for what? She's looking for like a medical person out of the group?
Yeah, it's like the first question she asked when she gathered like the quote unquote English speakers of like who's a scientist, who's a doctor. She wants to be able to have somebody that can essentially solve and figure out how to figure out this crisis.
Sure. And we find out that no one is, but she clues in on this guy from Paraguay bringing a little bit of a handful and not wanting to talk with the collective. And so I guess she feels I found a kindred spirit in this person.
Well, this was also the one additional person that the collective didn't originally know about, right? Like when Pirate Lady eventually kind of showed up to the doors, like, oh yeah, by the way, there is one extra one that ends up being this guy. And
Right.
the way this kind of scene plays out, and they have this like obscene phone tag kind of thing going back and forth with ends with both of them yelling at each other, which I thought was great. Like, I'd imagine this is just setting up now for this guy to probably reach back out to her because he would have known that the collective people are not going to yell at him and curse at him like she does. So I'm sure this kind of is starting and laying the seeds for their future relationship.
Sure. Tom, can you swear at someone in Spanish? Do you have that ability?
I felt like I heard one of these words and I knew it was a curse. I'm not going to repeat it because we are a podcast for children.
Yep.
But I think I could throw a couple of them out there.
Okay, good for you. I don't swear. I'm too righteous. So
You are.
I don't swear in any language, if I'm being honest. And if my kids are listening, take that to the grave. Wait, no, I'll take that to the grave. Don't go to the grave, kids. Come back from the grave. Anyways, I love that she's like, yeah, it did get dark. I love that she was like, get him back on the phone so that she can then like have the last word and yell at him. I thought that was like a good, just that lets you know a little bit more about Carol in this moment.
And she does know enough Spanish. She was doing like the Me llamo Carol, like trying to get some of it out. I feel like she probably next was going to ask where the library was. That would be the extent of my Spanish, but she knew enough and doesn't want to be translated. It's worth pointing out, right? Like the collective can clearly help her out. He doesn't want it.
Sure. Do you feel like they, like, were they trying to make a correlation between the name Karen and Carol? Were they, like, trying to touch on that type of personality that the internet has kind of made a thing? Do you equate those two, or do you feel like Carol is just an unhappy person who, and I'm reaching here?
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely seen that on the internet of like people wanting to like rebrand her as a Karen, kind of like the meme culture-ish. But I don't know. We haven't seen her react or have any sort of like really meaningful conversations outside of like the little book tour with anybody else that she might have been friends with, right? Like it couldn't have been just Helen in her life. I don't think I would assume they would have had some friends that she would have got along with, and we just don't really know how she acts. But maybe she's
These two seem to have spent a lot of time together. And you'll notice like Helen is the only one really interacting with the hotel guy. Carol is just like doing her thing. So I don't know. But she eventually arrives back home, and Zojia gives her mail, and Zojia's like, you're going to really like... I think it is... I put myself in Carol's situation a lot with it's like, how do they know that fact, and how do they... And it's like, oh, they know the guy that packed the package. Like, it doesn't have to be a Helen memory always. It's like, they have everyone's. And I found that unnerving, and I stand with Carol when she gets upset later on in the episode. But she gets a lovely massage gun, Tom.
Yeah, it's the best type of gun, in my opinion.
I think it's the worst type of gun. You can't murder someone with a massage gun, Tom. I mean, you could find a way. It would just take a really long time, and they'd probably love it. You know, they died from being too relaxed. And their muscles would be all liquidy and stuff.
They made such a big deal, like her opening the package. So it was kind of funny how like anticlimactic it was, and it was just a massage gun, and then her, making the call and finding out that this was Helen that sent this after like a vacation or like something to ease her tensions after the book tour or whatever. A very thoughtful gift, but again causes her to completely understandably freak out about this. And I think she even ends this. She's like, "I'm the only one that gets to remember her," which I thought was pretty powerful.
Yeah, and I think there's something about like sharing something with another person, sharing those memories, like relationships being like developed that way, like your secrets essentially, and then to have everyone know those is like terrifying.
Yeah.
Because not only is it the good stuff, it's the bad stuff too. I do want to go back to whoever manufactures these massage guns. You should make a massage gun that can reach out and touch people at a distance. Like this one, you've got to kind of hold. But like, if you see someone across the room and they're all like tensiony, and you want to be like, "Hey, I want to massage that person to be nice," you should be able to fire that sucker across the room, and really, massage someone. So distance massage gun. I would, Elon. You're not doing anything these days. Make a electric distance massage gun.
I think it's an attachment you can get. You could just twist off the little tiny ball that's on it, and then you can have one that's like a 10-foot pole with a little ball on it,
like a pool pole. You could also clean your pool with it. Just
exactly.
Anyways, lots of ideas flowing today, Tom. We go to day 4, and we're in the middle of a Golden Girls rewatch. Tom, what's your relationship to the Golden Girls?
I haven't watched Golden Girls, but I've heard it's fantastic, and I feel like I've watched like a couple scenes here and there, and I do enjoy the show and the comedy. I think it still holds up nowadays. I do find Golden Girls interesting because like the women were not really that old, but like the hairstyles and everything that they kind of had made them seem like they were like grandmothers. It's kind of a funny show that is in its own little time capsule. But I had to ask you, like, clearly this is Carol's like go-to end of the world binge show. Like, what would be yours? What DVD are you putting in to binge a show?
I mean, the clever answer would be like Last Man on Earth, but I'm probably gonna go with like Community or Arrested Development. I would probably, but just the first 2.5 seasons of Arrested Development, not the other.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm surprised she picks the comedy. She's not really laughing. I want to point that out. Like, they're showing us like these funny moments in Golden Girls, but she is not chuckling at all. Tom, I guess the same question to you, my friend.
I mean, I was thinking Arrested as well, but like you're going to get through that pretty quickly. So I was thinking maybe like a Saved by the Bell, a Friends, Full House, something like that that's got a boatload of seasons. I feel like could entertain you for a bit.
Sure. Friends, but without the laugh track, because you don't want any laughter.
Can't stand a laugh track.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right. We have the nicest meal delivery service in the world that shows up, which was beautiful.
Yeah, and I think we've had this before where they had like the lunch when they were all together with the other people that didn't get turned, but this is like a very personalized meal for her from like a concert she went to with Helen of like the Indigo Girls. So the collective really struggles to like read the room.
Sure.
Like, she clearly doesn't want these like very personal, detailed gifts. Like, just give her like a hamburger and she'd probably be okay. Right. But you're doing these things that just continue to creep the heck out of her.
Right. And this leads to her calling and being like, "Hey, I just want to be left alone." And you're like, "All right." She's like, "I'm very independent. I don't need other people." And then she goes to Sprouts, it's empty, and she needs a lot of other people to stock that Sprouts. So I'm assuming that was intentional, where we're all like, I'm self-reliant, I don't need other people. But then you like go out into your world and you're like, oh, actually, I do rely on a lot of people to provide a lot of things. She's not like building her own garden and butchering her own cow. She's got to go to Sprouts to get that stuff. And I feel like from a showism, they were like, hey, like Gilligan likes like how things work and like kind of process. And so I thought it was interesting that he chose like, okay, hey, we're going to put a Sprout together in an hour and we're going to let the audience at least see some of it. I thought this was like cool, and I understand what they were going for. And, I don't know. When's the last time you were in a Sprouts, Tom?
Oh, I don't go to Sprouts. It's way too fresh and healthy for me. But I did appreciate the montage. Like to your point, like this could have been something that was shot very quickly, but they really dragged it out, and I think it was super cool and very well done. Like all the trucks coming in, all the different walks of life people that are coming into the store with a very specific, set of celery or carrots, and they're taking it to that part of the store. And then it even jumps over to the clock, which ticks up very quickly by like 2 hours, and then everybody leaving. And even as they're leaving, they're like, they don't want to like break stride, so they're like, three people are all saying goodbye to Carol in a part of the sentence. Like it was so great and so well done.
Yep. Also creepy, and I didn't like it, and everyone was too smiley. And I like to go into a grocery store. I like to go into like a food and stuff, Tom, where I get my food and I get my stuff.
Most of your stuff,
yeah. And where everyone just looks sad. That's what I'm looking for. Like I want a grocery store that has broken their people down. That's how you know it's a good place. Too many happy employees. I don't trust it, Tom. I don't trust it at all.
Well, I don't think Carol did either. She doesn't thank any of these people as she leaves. I do love how she's like grabbing a cart, and there's a very clear picture of a poster on the back wall that says every meal is a choice. And then it cuts to her back at her home, and she chose to get like a TV dinner.
Okay, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I felt the same way. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's like a heat-up, pre-made meal. It's not the Salisbury steak we all grew up on, but
no.
Yeah, it's definitely a fancier TV dinner. And yeah, we should point out that Carol is very bad at thanking people. Like just, and I wonder, I don't know, is there a correlation, Tom, between showing gratitude to others and being happy? I don't know. No studies show that, Tom. No one knows,
Yeah. Jury's still out.
Yeah, jury's still out on whether or not thinking about other people and their feelings could possibly make an individual happy. I don't know. Not a doctor. So let's go home. I would think a power outage when you're alone and you're kind of alone, but you're surrounded by this like mindless collective or mindful collective. Listen, I would definitely want a grenade in this situation. If not a grenade, some non-massage guns. Some guns that reach out and massage people with bullets, Tom. That's what I would like in this situation. Or a grenade gun. Listen, maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's a gun that you reach out with a grenade to massage someone. All of these, no bad ideas in a brainstorm, Tom.
So good. But like she has that conversation with Zosha when she like calls her like, oh yeah, we're just conserving energy because nobody works during the day. Like it made me think about like what are these people actively doing? Like do they still have jobs? Do they still do stuff? Like do they have fun? Like so much of it is like, yes, they're still human beings, so they have to survive. They've got to like cultivate and get food and nourishment or whatever. But it just seemed odd that nobody works at night. What are they doing when they're not working? And I get that they probably don't need lights. I guess they're not playing any fun electric Xbox or PlayStation games.
Sure. I just want to point out they're definitely not having any fun because Zosha very clearly says there's no crime now. And if there's no crime, people aren't having fun, Tom, because crime is fun. The Team Binge podcast motto, crime is fun. Also, smoking's cool again. You do kind of wonder, well, so we do activities in order to, like, get a spike in dopamine, activities that we enjoy. If you're just happy all the time, which I don't think humans are built to be happy all of the time. It's a temporary thing, and I don't know. This is something I've been talking to my therapist about. My therapist disagrees, but they're wrong, and I'm right. So it's interesting to be like, yeah, what do they do if they're happy all the time? Why would they need an activity that like brings them happiness? Like in your case, a video game, or in my case, shooting a grenade with a massage gun at people that seem pretty tense,
I mean, I guess the whole concept is like the tagline of this movie or this show is like happiness is contagious. But I mean, are these people truly happy or are they just content? Like they kind of have smiles on their face, but I mean, I don't know if I'd go as far as calling these people happy.
Tom, I don't think these are questions this show's asking us to ask. I think we're just supposed to watch it and just turn our brains off. That's what I think.
Fair enough. Done.
So I appreciate that she calls Zosha. She's like yelling at Zosha because Carol just yells at everyone. I just wanted to point out the bit where she's like, we did it for conservation. because you donated to the Sierra Club twice was just an incredible like note. Like someone in the writer's room was like, listen, I donated twice, and they're like, boom, like put that in the script. I thought it was great.
Well, this is where she like very quickly says, like, as she's like yelling at Zojia, like, oh yeah, this the perfect topper would be if I had a grenade or whatever. And it's like the second she said that, and I knew the episode was called Grenade, I'm like, oh, she's gonna bring a grenade to this house. Stuff's about to get real.
Yeah. The most unrealistic thing about the show when Zojia was like, it took us a long time to find the grenade. I was like, there are grenades everywhere. You just need to know how to look, you know? They're in your massage guns. They're at what is it, Brookstone in the airport. Like you go next to the massage guns, there's always grenades. Please don't ask for hand grenades in the airport. That's going to get me in trouble. But yeah, so she shows up with her hand grenade, and you know, I have some questions about just like, is the collective stupid? Like, it's they're like, oh, we don't want to disappoint people, but also like, is this what we're supposed to ask? Like, if we all do things that make us happy and we don't want to disappoint people, does that all just make us dumb? Like, It's almost like parenting. You can be like, let your kid do whatever they want, but kids need boundaries. Like, people need boundaries. Certainly Carol does in this moment. That she needs the parent that is the collective to be like, hey, no, you can't have a hand grenade. Or later on when we get into a deeper conversation. So I don't know what the show is trying to tell us about human nature.
Yeah, and it the way this episode ends, like Carol certainly has some ideas based off of the extent of which they're willing to make her happy. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, when Zojia kind of comes to the door, she's like, we weren't sure if you were being sarcastic, so we brought it anyways. And yeah, it was super funny and very cleverly done.
Right. This all leads to Zojia being invited in for a drink. And at one point, I just wrote it in the outline. Carol says, shoopity shoop shoop, or something along those lines, and I found it very funny.
Well, like, all Zojia's doing is just spitting out facts, like, assuming this is the kind of, like, small talk that Carol wants to have. So she's, like, talking about, oh, this is cheers in these different languages and blah, blah, blah. And, yes, her response of cheers saying shoopity shoop shoop instead of what the actual language was brilliant. No notes, and I'm going to steal that.
Yes. This leads to the conversation where Carol's like, how much time do I have before you, like, take over my brain? Which she sees as a negative. And we get Zojia's perspective of, like, because there's a discussion of, like, hey, you're saying, like, I have agency, and then the question is, will I have agency when you pull me into the collective? And Zojia relates it to, hey, if you saw someone drowning, like, you would throw them a lifeline. You wouldn't think about it. And so Zojia thinks her joining the collective and, like, being happy is a lifeline. And although Carol's not demonstrating it very well, Carol is demonstrating, or at least trying to prove that, like, hey, having agency and not being forced into this collective, I'm not drowning, so to speak. Although, if she was just a little bit happier at certain points, maybe that argument would be great. But then, like, there's a discussion of, like, hey, is everything just, like, perfect in the collective? Is it like a postcard? And does this lead to her pulling the grenade? I don't know. There's a sequence of conversation that happens there that ultimately leads to an explosion.
Yeah, I think they're going back and forth. She keeps describing things that just sound poetic and beautiful, like the postcard, like you said. I think it eventually ends with her talking about, like, the ice hotel, and that's where she gets, like, super mad again at Zojia because she had told her to, like, keep Helen out of her mind, out of her mouth. She doesn't want to hear it, and that's clearly what got brought up because the only person that would have known, or I guess maybe it was the attendant that took them to their room. Maybe that's who she pulled the memory from. I don't know. But that is the catalyst for this grenade.
So if someone hands you a grenade, much like a massage gun, you always, like, treat it as if it were loaded, you know? And so I think it's a little bit strange for her to just, like, pull the pin, let the spoon fly, and, like, not think... I don't know. You've met the collective. They're very literal people, Carol. So, like, assume the grenade is real. But she assumes
as I was
fake.
watching this... Yeah, as I was watching this, I was just assuming, like, we just finished the show The Lowdown, which had a lot of poor gun safety measures going on, and I wanted to ask you about the grenade safety measures didn't seem to be fantastic either.
Yeah, no, you don't pull the pin on a grenade unless you're ready to massage some people. And once that spoon flies, there's no way to put that spoon back in place. So that grenade is definitely going to massage some people. I love
even when Zosha comes up, I was gonna say you're gonna put that like Zosha comes up, she almost says it like apologetically. Oh, can I take this? I need to get rid of this right now. Like it was such a calm and weird moment for her to do this. It was shot so brilliantly.
I was like, oh, she throws it she throws it through the window, and like you've got to assume that grenade is going to punch through that window and get to a place where it's not gonna like either bounce off the glass. And then I was like, oh, well, Zosha has like infinite knowledge, so she knows how thick the glass is. She knows the person that installed the glass and all that stuff. So when she throws it through and it blows up, I was like, okay, I guess it makes sense. Now, we then find Zosha has been wounded somehow, and our girl Carol hops in there to do a little bit of triage and gets her to the hospital. Did you think we were going to lose Zosha in this moment?
I didn't think we were, because I thought she was going to be a big character. But yeah, I didn't see this kind of coming. And I mean, we did unfortunately have the sad loss of this unicorn truck, right? Because that's what ultimately blows up, and maybe she gets shrapnel or something in her back that kind of causes this wound. But glad to hear that she's hopefully going to pull through. I
mean, where the wound was, it's almost like Carol stabbed her, you know? So let's not put it out that Carol just tried to murder Zosha. Okay. Zosha is then treated at a hospital by the DHL guy, which I thought was great. He's just walking through like what happened. And this leads to maybe one of the more important conversations and what this show is, I don't know, trying to point out. But she says something like, why did you give me your hand grenade? And he's like, well, we want you to be happy, so we'll give you whatever you ask for. And then she's like, well, what about? She just keeps escalating it. So it's like bazooka, tank, atomic bomb. And you can see like this actor's great. He's like smiling, but he's like, it's almost like he's glitching. He's like, I don't like want to give you any of these things, but I also don't want to disappoint you and make you mad. I mean, my mind goes to like a relationship between like when we like say you believe in a God and you ask God for something, and it's like what is his obligation in order to give you something that he knows? If I was like, God, I would really love a kilo of cocaine, it would really make my day. Like God's like, hey, I love you, but I'm not going to give you that kilo of cocaine. Or
it's because I love you, I'm not going to give you that kilo of cocaine.
Exactly. So that was this conversation where my mind went, because all the times I've asked God, and Tom, as a recovering kilo of cocaine guy, I apologize for bringing this up, the white lightning.
It's okay. It's okay.
But anyways, that's where my mind went when they were having this conversation.
Yeah, and like Carol eventually like forces him to say yes, because he's like, well, we would weigh the pros and cons with you. We would feel good about it. And she's like, well, yes or no? And he's like, yes. And like you see that Carol kind of clock this, like tell him to go away, and then you see him clock her clock it, almost kind of smile and start hatching up a plan.
Right.
So I think she's going to try to take this kind of concept of telling them what to do, as long as she's going to say, like she can essentially have them do anything, like we saw with creepy Kumba in the last episode, right? Like what is she going to concoct? What is she going to have these people do in the name of making her happy?
Sure.
Super interesting.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think clocking kind of what's happening, and both of these, you know, I don't know the DHL guy, that actor, but he does a great job of like, there's a lot going on like in his face in terms of what he wants to agree to, and she's even like, hey, this would be like a sane person would say no in this moment, and it's exactly. Like he can't because he doesn't want to make her unhappy, and Ray does just such a great job with her acting. Like, kind of, there's a lot of stuff happening underneath the surface, and the wheels are turning and all that stuff. So, interested to see where she takes this newfound knowledge. I hope Zosha's not dead. Anytime they don't show the character after something like this, I get a little bit worried. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they take this this idea that she's cooking up. Is she going to strap a atomic bomb to her chest and just demand that they leave the planet until you know, she gets her way? I mean, wouldn't that be the thing? Like, hey, give me everyone back as they were, or I'm going to be sad. Like, does the collective have to give her that, you know?
I don't know. I mean, again, there's like Carol. The whole thing is Carol's not the only one that they have to, I guess, keep and make happy. So, like, there was that conflict where they couldn't go with. I keep wanting to call him Zumba. What was his name?
Kumba.
Kumba. Like, couldn't go Kumba unless she got like almost permission from Carol. So, if Carol wants to explode an atom bomb, do they need to get permission from all the other people? Because it may not make the other people happy that still have their own free will. So, a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. But good episode. Enjoyed it. Great length of time. Moved along. I appreciate the world that we're building out and where we go from here. I would have liked to see her, tell Kumba to shove it and get Zoza back, but we yada-yada'd that, which was fine. But yeah, Tom, I'm excited. There's nothing really to talk about in terms of conjecture. There's no like smoking gun or dead body. We'll assume Zoja's with us until she's not. But I enjoy the flashback, enjoy the world building, and we'll see where they go. Anything else before we leave episode 3?
No, like I said, I think it's a good episode. I liked the timing for this one. I think when they release a new episode, they always kind of show the teaser picture or whatever in Apple for the next one, and I'm pretty sure it's also around the 45-minute mark, so we're here for it.
Love it. I love it so much. All right. For those of you that are listening, you can reach out to us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your theories. If we mispronounced a name, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear about that, and we will, of course, correct ourselves in the future. Tom, what did I forget?
And if you enjoy our podcast, follow us on the social medias at Team Binge or at Team Binge Podcasts. And if you are enjoying our nonsense, us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's a great way to help get our name out there for people to find our show. And like I mentioned in the first episode, if you do leave us a positive review, we will read it on pod. And we got a wonderful one from Meryl Williams a couple days ago saying, I found this podcast when they were covering Severance. Now I'm super excited to listen to them go into every episode of Pluribus. They are very funny and smart. Clearly, they don't know us very well. They added that smart bit, but we appreciate you. Really appreciate you, Meryl.
Yeah, that seems like AI, Tom. I don't think that person smart and funny, I believe. I don't know. Also, we're going to cover every Pluribus episode but one. We're not going to tell you which one, but one's just going to be lost in there. So we love a broken promise. All right, well, that was very nice of Meryl. Thank you. Tom, for Team Binge, I have been Julian.
Julian, for Team Binge, I have been Tom. Till next week, everybody.